Could it really be that in just 14 seconds, a seemingly ordinary moment holds something far deeper, something that even two global stars like BTS couldn't fully hide? Or is this just a coincidence? Or perhaps a clue that the public has been overlooking all along? A short clip that quietly surfaced has now exploded into a heated discussion, sparking speculation, emotion, and even unexpected theories. And at the center of it all, two names once again dominate the spotlight: Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung. The 14-second video, initially appearing to be nothing more than a casual snippet, has suddenly transformed into something far more complex. There is no long dialogue, no official statement, no open conflict. Yet that is precisely where its power lies. Within what seems like a simple silence, the public senses something unusual. And as often happens in the world of celebrity, the smallest moments can speak louder than words that eye in the footage. Kim Taehyung is seated on the left. He wears a crisp white shirt paired with a gold necklace that subtly catches the light. His demeanor is calm, almost too calm. A phone rests in his hand, and occasionally he glances at the screen, as if trying to divert his attention from something around him. A faint smile briefly appears on his face, but it fades just as quickly, like a reflex that emerges and disappears without explanation. To his right, Jeon Jungkook presents a strikingly different aura. Dressed in a black studded sweater, with tattoos visible along his arm, his appearance alone commands attention. But what truly draws focus is not his outfit, it's his behavior. Jungkook is speaking, but not just casually. He turns toward Taehyung, his gaze intense and impossible to ignore. There is depth in that look. There is focus. There is something that feels personal, and this is where the public begins to ask, what exactly happened in those 14 seconds? Was Jungkook trying to say something important? Or was it merely an ordinary conversation that happened to be caught on camera? Why does his gaze seem so intent, as if expecting a certain response? And perhaps most intriguingly, why didn't Taehyung respond in the way many might expect? One detail that further complicates the moment is the sudden appearance of a hand from the left side of the frame. The hand, likely belonging to another member or a staff member, briefly touches Jungkook's shoulder. The contact is fleeting, yet it subtly shifts the dynamic. Jungkook reacts slightly, but he doesn't fully break his focus from Taehyung. This raises another question. Was something happening outside the frame? Was Jungkook caught between maintaining the conversation and responding to the interruption? Meanwhile, Taehyung's shift in expression becomes the most critical turning point in the clip. From a faint, gentle smile, he suddenly turns serious. His gaze moves forward, distancing itself from the interaction that had just occurred. The transition is quick, yet clear enough to spark countless interpretations. Is it a sign of discomfort? Or simply a coincidence amplified by the camera's angle? What makes this moment even more compelling is the contrast between the two. Jungkook appears engaged, attentive, and emotionally present. Taehyung, on the other hand, seems reserved, distant, and composed. This contrast creates a subtle tension that cannot be ignored. Even without clear audio, viewers feel as though they are witnessing a conversation filled with unspoken meaning. This phenomenon is not new in the world of K-pop, especially when it comes to BTS. Every movement, every glance, even every pause in their interactions is often analyzed in depth by fans and cultural observers. However, what sets this clip apart is the intensity of the reaction it has generated in such a short time. Just 14 seconds, yet the impact feels far greater. Some observers suggest that this is a classic example of micro-expression dynamics, a psychological concept explaining how small facial expressions and gestures can reveal underlying emotions. In this context, Taehyung's shift in expression and Jungkook's focused gaze could reflect an unspoken emotional exchange. Of course, not everyone agrees with that interpretation. Others argue that the public may be reading too much into the situation. They believe this is simply an ordinary moment magnified by camera angles and audience expectations. In a world constantly under scrutiny, even the smallest detail can appear dramatic when viewed from the right perspective. Still, the question remains, if this was truly just a normal moment, why do so many people feel that something is different? The answer may lie in the long-established connection between Jungkook and Taehyung. As members of BTS, they are known for their strong chemistry, both on and off stage. Their interactions have always drawn attention, not only because of their global fame, but also because of the depth of their visible bond. Within that context, even the smallest shift in their dynamic becomes significant. When Jungkook displays such intense attention and Taehyung responds with apparent distance, it inevitably leads people to wonder, is this just a fleeting moment, or is there something deeper unfolding beneath the surface? Various theories have already begun to emerge. Some speculate it could be related to work pressure, demanding schedules, or even differences in perspective on certain projects. But without any official confirmation, all of this remains purely speculative. What is certain, however, is that these 14 seconds have opened the door to widespread discussion. They demonstrate how human interaction, even in its simplest form, can carry immense weight when observed by millions. They also serve as a reminder that behind the glamour of the entertainment world, there are emotional dynamics that are not always immediately visible, and perhaps that is what makes this moment so captivating. Not what is seen, but what is unseen. Not what is said, but what is felt is this the beginning of something bigger? Or just a small ripple that will soon fade away? The answer is still unclear. But one thing is certain, those 14 seconds have left a mark that won't easily be forgotten. And in a world where every second has the potential to go viral, perhaps we are all witnessing something far more significant than we realize. Yet the deeper one looks, the harder it becomes to dismiss those 14 seconds as something trivial. Because if this were merely an ordinary interaction, why does every frame seem to invite interpretation? Why does every glance feel layered with meaning? And more importantly, why does the silence between Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung feel louder than any spoken word? As the clip continues to circulate, slowed down, zoomed in, and replayed countless times, viewers begin to notice details that were not immediately visible at first glance. The angle of Jungkook's head, the slight tightening of his jaw, the rhythm of his speech. Even without audio, these subtle cues begin to form a narrative of their own. Some claim that his expression carries a sense of urgency, as if he is trying to convey something important before the moment slips away. Others believe it reflects concern, a quiet attempt to bridge an emotional distance that may or may not truly exist. And then there is Taehyung, still, composed, yet somehow unreadable. His initial smile, though faint, suggests a level of comfort, a familiarity that has been built over years of shared experiences under the global spotlight of BTS. But the sudden shift in his expression, so quick, so controlled, introduces a layer of ambiguity that refuses to be ignored. Was it intentional? Was it instinctive? Or was it simply a fleeting change that gained unintended significance because of the camera's presence? The human mind, when presented with incomplete information, has a tendency to fill in the gaps. And in this case, those gaps are vast. There is no context, no explanation, no confirmation. Only 14 seconds of visual data that have been dissected with almost forensic precision. It is in this vacuum of certainty that speculation thrives, growing more elaborate with each retelling, each analysis, each theory that attempts to decode what cannot be definitively proven. Some observers have gone as far as to reconstruct the possible conversation based solely on lip movement and body language. They analyze the direction of Jungkook's gaze, noting how it lingers on Taehyung just a fraction longer than expected. They point out how his posture leans slightly inward, subtly closing the physical distance between them. These are not grand gestures, but in a world where every movement is magnified, they carry weight. At the same time, Taehyung's decision to redirect his gaze forward becomes a focal point of discussion. It is not abrupt enough to be confrontational, yet not casual enough to be dismissed. What complicates matters further is the presence of the unseen third party, the hand that briefly touches Jungkook's shoulder. Though it appears for only a moment, its impact is disproportionate to its duration. It introduces an external variable into an already complex equation. Was it a simple gesture of coordination from a staff member? A signal to wrap up the interaction? Or perhaps an attempt to redirect attention? The lack of clarity only fuels the intrigue, and in many ways, this 14-second clip becomes a case study in modern media consumption. It highlights how audiences engage with content not just passively, but actively, analyzing, interpreting, and constructing narratives in real time. It also underscores the unique position occupied by figures like Jungkook and Taehyung, whose every action is subject to scrutiny, whose every expression can spark global conversation. But beneath the layers of analysis and speculation lies a more fundamental question. What does this moment reveal about them? Not as public figures, but as individuals? Because beyond the stage performances, the carefully curated appearances, and the global fame, there exists a human dimension that is often overlooked. A dimension where emotions are not always clear, where interactions are not always scripted, and where even the smallest gesture can carry personal significance. It is possible that nothing extraordinary happened in those 14 seconds. That there was no hidden message, no unspoken conflict, no deeper meaning waiting to be uncovered. It is equally possible, however, that something did occur, something subtle, something private, something that cannot be fully understood by those watching from the outside.